I would just like to reconcile a blissful, chronically happy person with my personality. That's not to say that I'm not chronically happy, but when I picture somebody that's just always blissful, I think of you guys, and I think of my mom, that you're full of energy, and you're always smiling, and you're surrounded by people.
Well, what you're really describing is someone who's aware of vibration, who is alert to emotion, who cares about how they feel, and directs thoughts accordingly. In other words, that's the only way someone can be consistently happy, is by understanding that you have the ability to choose thoughts that lean in the direction of happy.
Absolutely, and I do, but I think where I get stuck is that, like, it's really evident. Let's say you have me and my mom, and we're at a party. My mother's the life of the party, and it's not that I'm not having fun, but I sort of look more like the Bodyguard, where I'm like I'm always cool, I'm calm, I'm very, I tend to be more private, more introverted, whereas my mom's all over the place.
You can be private and introverted and calm and in the vortex.
And
you don't have to be bouncing off the wall with
it.
enthusiasm
That's
to
what I
be in the
picture.
vortex.
Like the little girl bouncing along, like, that's not me. I'm just like, I'm very calm. And
well, let us describe some characteristics of alignment. When you are really in alignment, you are fabulously interested in something. Now, we don't find that bouncing off the wall with enthusiasm. In other words, joy can be overtly offered. There are joyous songs that are full of such rhythm and beat that you can hardly hold your body still when you hear them. But there are joyous songs that fill you that are meditative in nature also. So you get to choose, you get to define who you are. You already have defined who you are, you see. We don't want you to mimic the behavior of others. We want you to get into the vortex and feel your own inspiration.
Okay, and that looks the way it looks.
It looks however it looks, and it looks different relative to different subjects. Okay. In other words, Esther walked up to a little baby yesterday that she has known only through email, and just laid eyes on this little girl and felt alignment supreme. But Esther was cool about it. She didn't lick the baby.
Absolutely.
She wanted to.
Yes. I guess that's like, sometimes I feel myself like literally like, and it's almost like the more excited my mom gets, the calmer I get. It's as if to counterbalance, and I feel myself holding myself, like, my happiness back, because it's just not
We're interested
calm.
in why this conversation is so much about the counterbalance of you and your mother, and not more about the counterbalance of the source within you and you. In other words, it's a pretty normal thing for someone to be born to a parent and to be weighing their behavior and their response to life against the behavior and response to life of the parent. But in the same way that we were teasing about weaning you from the necessity for these gatherings to be in Canada, we want you to wean yourself from the approval of your mother, and even from a comparison of your mother, and let all of your comparison be about this thought that I'm thinking feels how, because the way it feels is a keen comparison between how the larger part of me thinks about the same thing. And the larger part of me has got it figured out. The larger part of me has the experience of all of this. The larger part of me is where I have projected myself to be. The larger part of me is the future of my physical manifestation and the current reality of all that I've evolved to. So
it doesn't really matter what... I use my mom as an example because we're so different, but I also worry about... losing my friends, because if I keep myself at this elevated vibration,
some of them won't stick around.
That's just it. I want them to stick around. I like my friend, like I like especially my best friend. Like I understand that she doesn't.
your best friend or any person that you know has within them components that align with the source within you and components that don't align with the source within you. So the only question that we would put to you or anyone as you are considering your friendship is, do you trust that your friend has components within her that align with her source and your source? Because what you're actually saying is, I worry, your words, I worry that if I will tune myself out of those lower frequencies and into the higher frequency, the higher meaning non-resistant frequency of the source within me, that my friend won't be there with me. And we want to say to you, your friend has those higher frequencies too. And while you might precede your friend into the vortex, when you hold your friend as your object of attention from inside the vortex, you are an inspiration that in the majority of cases calls your friend into the vortex too. And we got to tell you, friendship in the vortex is way better than friendship not in the vortex.
Oh, that's true. Okay. So it would
and next, we wouldn't give up the vortex for any relationship.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. So if let's say now that there's someone in, and this is even a little bit like a technical question. Let's say there's someone in my life that I'm interested, but I don't think he's the one that's in my vortex. Now, do I? I think I know the answer.
Then use him for step one experiences to shore up the one who's really in your vortex.
Okay.
I know that you're not the one, but I think I can use you. I think I can use you for data and sex.
No. Okay.
Hello. My question is, what is the best way to move toward the vortex?
To accept its existence and to want to be in it. And then to care about how you feel.
And on the way to get there, if you feel a small bit of joy or anything else, try and stay with it longer.
Milk it. Milk it. In other words, as you're taking your walk and you see something that is pleasing, stop and ask yourself why this is pleasing. Jerry and Esther have a beautiful suite in this hotel. It is actually one of the most beautiful sleeping rooms that they've ever spent time in. So they sat for nearly an hour last evening, just looking around it, trying to identify why they like it so much. Esther said, it may be the richness of the colors. And Jerry said, it may be the beauty of the furniture, beautiful antiques. And then Jerry said, or it may be the wall coverings, or it may be the pictures. And they just, piece by piece, looked around the room and tried to identify, why do I like this room so much? Why do I like this room so much? The temperature is right. The acoustics are good. The room is immaculate. Someone really cared, and then they hit on something that really moved energy. Somebody cared about making this a beautiful room and did. We are experiencing the completion of someone's intentionality. We've hooked into someone's intention about that. And then when Esther awakened this morning, she is lying in bed at first light coming into the room, and she is saying to Jerry, look how beautiful that pillow is with that curtain, with that picture, with that balance. And Jerry is laughing because she's still not over it. In other words, they milked it, but it became an interesting and satisfying conversation. Now, for many, that would seem frivolous and unimportant. And we say it's milking the vortex. Milking the vortex. That's a good book. Milking the vortex. Milking the vortex. Milking the vortex.
And once you have that, and you have small children, what's the best way to stay in it and get them to not push them away from it? Because you sometimes want to push them away, period.
But when you think about it, there is so much more to milk from inside the vortex about your children than there would be in a hotel suite. In other words, there are just endless. If you're having trouble in the beginning, go watch them while they're asleep.
Done.
And just milk it. Remember who they are. Take pleasure in their defiance. Be thrilled at their display of emotions. Don't ask them to be calm.
Agreed.
Milking it. You know what we mean by milking it? In other words, stay there and savor more and take your time and debate about it. It's like eating something delicious, and rather than scarfing it, eating it slowly and making an effort to identify the flavor and share it with others around the table and hear what they think about it too. In other words, milk it. Focus on pleasurable things and hold yourself there deliberately for the purpose of training your vibration to an inside the vortex vibration. And do it with the things that are easiest first. That's really the most important thing. Do it with the easy things first. And then you get so accustomed to being in the vortex that life won't give you things that are very far away from it. As we were saying to our friend earlier, you don't have a big range of choices because your choices are very close to where you're hanging out vibrationally. So imagine milking it and getting in the vortex and milking it and getting in the vortex and milking it and holding the vibration. Get in there and look through your favorite things. Read your love letters again. List your positive aspects. Look through your pictures that thrill you. Milk it, milk it, milk it, milk it. Train yourself into vibrational accord with what is in your vortex. And then that's where you're hanging out. And now the range of choices that you have are all pretty close to there. That's why the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets. In other words, you hang around there and life gives you more good stuff. The more you take the opportunity to look for pleasing opportunities, the more pleasing opportunities come to you. It is just a law of attraction, you see.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Your movement energetically has been clear and obvious to us. And from our vantage point of who you are and what's in your vortex, we can pronounce wonderful movement that is obvious to you over the days that will follow. It is our powerful desire that you lighten up in your awareness of life and that you let the reality that is currently wrapped around you in so many emphatic ways release its compelling, attractive grip a bit as you deliberately refocus yourself in the direction of your becoming rather than in the direction of what has already manifested. And it is our promise to you that as you do that, we will stand in the vortex where what you have asked for has already vibrationally been readied for you. And hold steady your request on every subject. And as that occurs, as the source within you holds the vibrational content of who you really are and what you've been asking for, you'll feel the compelling resonance of that. In other words, it's going to be easy for you to feel your alignment or misalignment with who you are. We predict for you the most glorious days of your life ever coming up right away, because the movement that has happened in your vibration, in your physical vibrational countenance in relationship to who you are and what you've got going on here was really a staggering thing to behold. We are always aware of both vibrational aspects of you. We know the vibrational proximity between you and you. We not only know who you've become, we know where you are in relationship to it, and we know the direction that you are pointed. And friends, you've done wonderful work here today. So as you leave this gathering with this short list of things on your mind, do I accept the reality of the vortex of creation? Do I accept this vibrational reality as reality? And do I have the ability to make it a more important reality even than the flesh, blood, bone, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, feeling, vibrational reality or actual reality that is surrounding me? Do I have the ability to feel the vividness of this vibrational reality? Am I willing to set aside what I'm seeing for what I'm feeling, what I'm hearing for what I'm feeling? Am I willing to trust and hold myself in this faith-filled emotion of knowing the perfection of my being? Will I reach for the worthiness that is me?